is going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 24 of Let's Build the U.S.S. Enterprise A 2.0. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you guys very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you guys enough for that. So come with me, guys, on this journey of building the very last tutorial series. I hope everybody can jump on this and enjoy this with me, because this is the last one from Minecraft. Without further ado, let's kick back, relax, and we're going to dive right into this thing. We're going to pick up right where we left off, working on our impulse engines. And we want to make a point. We don't want to delete our work, but essentially we're going to start actually fleshing it out a bit. So we're just going to do this block for block and see kind of where we go. Now, if I go over like that, that could pose some problems. But we're going to mess with it. Because what I'm trying to do is I want to have them coming inward a little bit. And also going with the shape that the saucer is currently in. But as you can see, what's happening as I'm doing it this way is that now we have a lip overhead, but we're at least one block inward. And we might be able to fix this. Let's continue on. We're going to try to see if we can make this work. So you see we've gone up a row, we've cleared out just a little bit, so now we're going to go up and one over with a cut. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. All right. Same thing here. It's not looking too bad. Let's keep this going. All right. Nothing really to say, so I was just letting it go. I think one of the things I could have learned when I was doing my tutorials before is not being afraid to sit there and let it run its course. The one thing I never did get a chance to figure out, and I probably won't have it figured out by the time this tutorial series has run its course, but having some type of background music, I'm going to figure that out, to have it low where it's just not dead air in the background. But I think I've done a fairly decent job of keeping it going, keeping a conversation going on here, because it's not so easy to sit here and talk to yourself, basically, unless you're crazy. And even then, if you're having a good conversation, I guess that's all that matters, right? But I mean, when I've been doing these, I try to think about the comments and stuff that you guys make on the channel, and I use that stuff to help kind of form a direction to go into. But this isn't looking too bad. Like I said, the biggest problem here is that we're gonna have a lip, but maybe we can make this work. So we're just gonna fill in what we have, basically. One and only problem is that the overhead right there. That's a decent gap. I'm going to be trying it with the half slabs here, but I'm not sure the half slabs are going to cut it. No pun intended there. I actually totally didn't mean to pun that. That would have been slick if I did, but I'm not going to take credit for it. I mean, this isn't looking too bad. I think it definitely softens that gap a little bit. But I don't know. But you know, as of you guys have gotten accustomed to, I love to make changes. So we're going to try out something different. But if you like that, run with it. Why not? This is one of the reasons I show this stuff, so you guys can see the different ways that you can do it, because there's not just one way. Yeah, I like that. I think we need to complete that on each side. And then maybe finish it off. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's do the same thing on the left side. We're just going to basically rope it off. Still gives it that angle. It's just sharp at the top and it angles inward, which also doesn't look bad either. But man, I tell you, those elongated impulse engines, they look great. I know some people might be like, well, you know, it's not very imaginative. It's basically like what they did with the Kelvin. And yeah, that's probably fair, but the Kelvin's impulse engines look dope. Now, everything I'm doing right here, there's going to be a problem because everything above is going to be gray. And won't be able to see all of it, but we're going to be able to see some of it. So we might have to cover that up with half slabs. And I think the way I'm going to try to do that is by leaving a row on a gap on either side to try that out and see how that looks. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I could honestly leave it like that, and I don't think anybody would even question it. And see, now it's all coming together now. It's tying in to our shelf that sits on the saucer. And this is why taking a moment to analyze what you're doing makes a difference. That doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty good. I love the line work on the sides here, how everything just comes together in unison. The hull lines, how it comes into the shelf, everything. It looks fantastic. All right. So now we're going to transition over. I think we're going to be working on the pylons a little bit. So I think what we're getting ready to do, been talking about this for a while, where I'm going to be making the pylon one piece instead of it transitioning, because I talked about it when we were doing it. I forget off the top of my head, but it was the cut lines. Oh, I remember now. In the front of the pylon, it was going to be ended up being too jagged. So for that reason, I'm going to be flattening this out basically. Wasn't my first choice to do that. It really wasn't, because I actually liked how it had that angle, but I just, for the life of me, I could not figure out how to have that angle on the side, but also to keep the silhouette front profile of the pylon intact without it being just one layer. But this isn't a big deal because a lot of the bones of it is already here. We're just bringing it out by one, and you can see I'm just doing this one row at a time and I'm following my cut. Very important too. So we want to make sure that as we're adding these rows, even if some of them get covered up, that was my thought process on it. That I wanted to make sure that my cut lines and everything was matching up. So I'm just going to continue on. You could technically go off the third row out and start out that way, but one of the things I was concerned with was having everything blend together. So for that reason, I decided to build outward so that, because as you can see right here, everything is hugging the ship and it's as close as possible to my current cut lines. And I'm trying to blend it in the most naturally. Don't be super concerned about that right there. That's what I'm looking at the moment. I'm like, ugh, I don't like that. But I'm not considering that there's going to be a new line coming up from there. Unless I take that off. Which I might end up being what we do. I don't remember if we go off that or not. Don't hold it against me. It's been quite a while since I've actually built this out. And I try to make a point to go through and watch these again beforehand just to refresh myself. And I had, but I don't recall that for the life of me. So you can see I've just moved ahead now until we've gotten to the midway point before the template starts going outward instead of inward. Now this is going to be the hard part as we're adding in our layers to get everything lined up. My best course of action to say right now with this is it's not super hard, but stop for a second, watch what I'm doing. This is the benefit of having this stuff recorded, is that you can go forwards and you can go backwards. Yeah, see, shaving that off and having that new cut line now established, it's fixing the problem that we just had, where it was coming out blocky and not having a set cut line. We still have the problem right there, but we can address that by moving the cut line from there to there, maybe. Now I know I'm making a lot of changes right here. If you need to skip and go side to side with each step that I'm making, go ahead and do that. When I was super concerned about not remembering what I was doing, that's what I would do. Because remember, that's still one of my rules. If you do it on one side, you got to do it on the other. If you're looking at what you're building from a front view and you cut it in half, if both sides are equal in shape and proportion, you're really only building it one half of it, but you're repeating that process twice, just mirrored. Now don't worry about the pinstripe. We can fix the pinstripe. The most important thing right now is that everything lines up with the change that we're making. See, just adding in a row like that and bringing it out, we're able to blend that in. That doesn't look too bad. I'm just going to have to do the same thing on the right side. And I know everything's not lining up perfectly just yet, but just hang with me. We're going to get there. We have to do this one step at a time, one move at a time. We're slowly creeping up on the end of the episode already. Shot through today's episode pretty quickly. Let me bring that up one more. Just remember, want to make sure that we're going angling outward on our back end and maintaining that. I don't know why, but I feel like that extra lip that's there currently, I just shaved it off because it was less work to do that than adding in a whole new layer. I don't know why I feel like that's what I did, but I feel like that's not what we're about to do. Because to be honest with you, that would be the easiest thing to do right now. And if it's not what I do, that might be something to think about. Because if you think about it, if we just take off that lip and just clean it up a little bit, that's the easiest, least amount of work right now. And is it really going to benefit us to have the pylon be thicker? But you could also make the argument too, and this is actually fair. You don't want the pylons to be super thin, because one of the problems, as much as I love the original Constitution class refit, that shape, they made it for space. And it's not something that really works out all that well in the real world, and I know that for a fact because I can't tell you how many models of the Constitution class refit that I made that the pylons just they come apart over time, and sometimes they don't even last that long, and then even gluing them on, it's very, very delicate situation, and if you don't do it right, you can have problems and it breaks apart. And yeah, so thinking, using that logic, giving some girth to them and more stability, because we're already fixing the problem with them being so tiny, and having them now being fully formed with the lower hull, it adds more of that stability. So it's just something to think about in the logic and the changes and why we have these changes in place. But anyway, just something to think about. But I think that's going to do it for us today. I just want to thank you guys again for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Also, be sure to check out my new book, Total Control: The Lie That Built Us. You can get it now on Amazon or Kindle. You can get a hardcover, paperback, or Kindle edition. So search Total Control: The Lie That Built Us, or just my name, Will Hens, and you can check that out, and I'd be gratefully appreciative if you did. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, be sure to drop a comment, let me know what you think, or if you have any questions, just dropping by to say what's up. Definitely love hearing from everybody. But no, I hope everybody, you're enjoying your holiday, and also have a happy new year, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. And what did you make creative today? Post your pics and let me know in the comments.